Welcome everyone. My name is Cappiello, and I'm one of the teacher success managers here at Book Creator. I'm located in Chicago, so I know some of you, probably most of you, are in Illinois, but there might be some people from other places as well. I've been Book Creator for almost 4 years now. I can't believe time has flown. Before that, I was in the classroom for about 9 years. I taught grades ranging from kindergarten all the way up through 10th grade. So different grade levels and different subject areas as well. I love working with teachers all over the world and really showing how to implement Book Creator into the classroom. And today we're going to be focusing on literacy with our head of literacy. So my colleague Randy's on the call too. So I'll let her introduce herself.
Thank you, Catherine. So hello and welcome. I'm Randi Ahrndt. I am the head of literacy and learning here at Book Creator. I have not been here for 4 years. I've just started at the end of July, early August. Prior to that, I have had a pretty extensive background in literacy and education. So I was an elementary teacher, a literacy coach. I was a principal at an elementary school, a curriculum designer. I'm located in Michigan. You could probably tell from my northern accent, the Upper Peninsula. So I'm not too far from Illinois. And yeah, I'm here. I'm a mother of 3 boys. Keep me busy. I'm really excited to share all things literacy today. I just want to preface also by saying Catherine and I are very informal. So if at any time you have questions, drop it in the chat. We really are here to just have more of a conversation and level the playing field and share with you why we love Book Creator and why, if you are not familiar or haven't used it in a while, like some new things to really get excited about.
Definitely. And throw the aha moments in the chat too. If you get excited about something, we get excited as well. So definitely use that chat, not just for questions, but aha moments as well. All right. So I'm doing the clicking just so you know if I'm doing the clicking, and if we're both going to be going back and forth today. So if we're not on the same page at the same time, sorry about that. Just saying that up front. So here are today's topics. We're going to start with an overview of the science of reading. And I have to say, Randi is definitely an expert at that. So she's going to be talking about that, as well as the 5 pillars of literacy. During this time, we're going to be, Randi's going to be talking about that since she's the expert. And then I'm going to be going into a demo of how Book Creator can be used and implemented into all of these things as we're going through. Then we're going to go over a few exciting updates with Book Creator. Some are going to be released really soon. So that's exciting, especially if you've been using Book Creator, and just talking a little bit about some of the promo going on right now as well. And then we'll take some additional questions if you haven't thrown them in the chat. But let's, am I missing anything? Or did I go over everything? We're good to go? Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and get started.
All right. So we are going to jump right in, and a lot of us have different positions. And so I want us all to start on the same level playing field here. So I'm just going to give a brief overview on the science of reading. I feel like that is really a big buzz phrase right now that's going through education. So regardless of your role, I guarantee you've heard it in one way, shape, or form in some capacity. And so the science of reading really is just the most recent research on the best practices for teaching reading and literacy. So how to teach students to read and write. The Reading League is kind of the official definition that everyone is using, and that is that it is a vast interdisciplinary body of scientifically based research about reading and issues related to reading and writing. So one thing that I think it's really important to mention is that when you hear that, or when you hear products saying we are science of reading aligned, you know, in the back of your mind, you should be thinking, well, no, duh, you should be science of reading aligned, because you should be using the most recent up-to-date research. Like, this is not anything new. This is not anything that is like mind-blowing. And so I also wanted to point out that the science of reading doesn't come from one discipline. So you'll notice in the little blue box, This has been from research from cognitive psychologists, developmental psychologists, education experts, neuroscientists, psychologists, etc. And so it's been a whole body of research to show this is how students learn best on how to read and write. So we're going to go in a little bit deeper. So just bear with me for just a moment. So I am not a neuroscientist. I am not a brain researcher, but I feel like it's really important for us to kind of deep dive into the reading brain so that you can understand how students really, how we all have learned how to read. And when there are possibly some issues with students, what that could mean. So everybody starts off learning in the frontal lobe. So you'll notice that's blue on my little brain there for you. And that's sound. So when you think about from our earliest babies, when they start babbling and they're like, mama, 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 and you think, oh my gosh, they said their first word. A lot of times they're just mimicking what they're seeing or hearing, what they're hearing you do, right? So mama, cup, dada, those are all things that happen in your frontal lobe. So think of that as your sounds. So any sort of sound, being able to say it or to hear it, and then be able to articulate it back. That happens in your frontal lobe. And that is really like the first area of the brain where we start to think about reading. From there, as your children progress, they get to like a toddler stage, right? Where you can now tell them the word cup and they understand its meaning. So that kind of works in the temporal lobe. So it goes from the frontal lobe to the temporal lobe. They can hear words, they have a meaning, they have context, they understand what it means. However, they have no idea necessarily what the letters are yet, right? They might be able to tell you that that golden arch is an M for McDonald's. And that means that that is part of the occipital lobe at the back of the brain. And that's where we store all of our sight words. So letters, sight words, your name. So that's why you can have kids that enter kindergarten and they can identify their name, but they might not be able to tell you that a Randi starts with an or that it's a, but they could look at Randi and they know, yep, that's Randi, because it's already put into their occipital lobe. The area of the brain that really focuses the most on this science of reading, foundational reading, the phonics, if you will, is the parietal lobe. And so that is where we start identifying that all of these sounds are associated with our letters or the symbols of what those sounds are represented. And so the reason that this is so important and the reason that I'm giving you this like deep dive right now is because what happens when students learn how to read and write is you go from the sound frontal lobe to the parietal lobe to the occipital lobe and back. So think of that as like your reading highway from the front to the back and forth, boom, 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 boom. Also making sure that you have meaning in there for those multiple meaning words. So I gave the example on this screen, cup. So if someone says, all right, I want you to write the word cup. Well, they know what it means. So that meaning, and they can hear it. Now we have to start looking at those letters. So k, k, k. Well, the k sound could be C, could be a K. The that's a U, and the p is a P. Now, most of us can look at the word cup and we can read it automatically. What happens is our brains start to keep all of those in our occipital, I'm going to call it like our lockbox of all of our sight words. And so it happens with letters first, and that's why when students start reading, they're very choppy and they have to do one letter at a time because they're going back and forth from the frontal to the parietal to the occipital and back. Once they start getting word chunks like the up family, you could put cup, pup, dup, rup, whatever you want in front of it, and students can easily read those because up is part of their occipital toolbox. And so it's really important because if students start struggling with any learning, reading deficits, chances are is there's some neural pathway that is broken and needs to be fixed. The great thing about the brain, anyone who's done any research on growth mindset knows that it is neuroplasticity and we can change it. And so today we're going to talk a little bit more about how students learn how to read and how we can make it really fun and engaging, because this is all really complex and we're going to show you how simple it can be. So in the year 2000, the National Reading Panel came out with what they call the 5 pillars of foundational literacy. And these 5 components have to be mastered in order for students to become fluent readers and writers. And so they are phonemic awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. Now, one thing that I think it's really important to note is that there's not just 5 things that students need. These are the 5 most important things based on a meta-analysis, but there's also some other really important things to mention, like background knowledge, context. Are you an English language learner? Do you have any special needs? What has your experiences been? I mean, there's a plethora of other things. The other 2 really important pieces that I think are almost more important than these 5 pillars is you can teach students any skill you want, but if they are not motivated to learn, if they're not engaged, and if they don't have equal access to the same learning that the rest of the class has, it doesn't matter how great of a lesson you have, students are not going to want to do it and they're not going to be able to do it. So we truly feel very strongly at Book Creator that 2 additional pillars, or the overarching, or however you want to look at it, we put it in clouds, is the access and the motivation. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. The first pillar, you can go ahead, Catherine.
Sorry, it's loading. There you go.
Slow and steady. So the first pillar we're going to dive into is phonemic awareness. And phonemic awareness, for all of you that are not literacy experts, it's basically the ability to identify each individual sound within a word, and also to be able to manipulate those sounds to create new things. So for example, if you had cat and you change the k to an the new word is mat. So one thing that I want to deep dive into just a little bit more is that phonemic awareness falls underneath phonological awareness. And so phonological awareness is the ability to hear the sounds within words. And so this is something that is started from the time students start babbling, rhyming, alliteration. What's a word that starts with big, and my son thinks he's really funny, my youngest, and he'll be like, Mom, I know what rhymes with truck. I'm like, sure you do, Darren. Duck, right? That's not what you all were thinking, because that's not what he said either. And so rhyming, that's one of the easier skills. Next is the syllable level. So being able to take chunks of words starts off easy with like compound words, right? If I have sun and shine, I put them together. My new word is sunshine. Being able to take a word like exercise and clap it out, exercise. These are all phonological awareness activities. You can do it with your eyes closed. It's teaching with your eyes closed. Students can do it just using their mouth. It's reading with your face, if you want to call it that. The next is onset rhyme. So this is kind of those word families. The first, usually it's a consonant, and then what comes after the consonant. So you could have book being book, map, app. That's onset rhyme, different from RHYME. So just throw it out there, because why not make something else more complicated in learning how to read in the English language? And lastly, under phonological awareness is that phonemic awareness. That's, again, being able to hear and isolate each individual sound and then be able to add, delete, substitute, etc. So I just wanted you to have that understanding, because there's a lot of skills that students need in order to master phonological awareness. So now we're going to get to the exciting part. We're going to actually go into some examples in Book Creator. So some of the things that you can easily do in Book Creator, and some of the things that Catherine is going to demonstrate in just a little bit, are based on the amazing features that we have built in right into our platform. So in these examples here, I have one that's a syllable awareness. You will notice that we use images. We have the ability to do voice and speech and shapes and you name it. And basically what they're doing in syllable awareness is they're being able to listen. I have rain and I have bow. They have to find an image of rainbow, and then they have to record their voice saying it. So again, it's that multi-sensory approach. We're kind of combining all of the things students need in order to be successful in these phonological skills. Another activity that is easy to create in Book Creator is a sorting activity. This is an example page from our letter A remixable book, and they were supposed to listen for the a sound in the word. And if the image has the a, they put it in the thumbs up. And if the image doesn't, they move it to the thumbs down. So again, a really fun way to take what would normally be like a worksheet or cut and paste into a digital. It's also really great to use real imagery because then you are building up that vocabulary in those contexts. And it also is really, really helpful for your ELL or second language learners. We have some more examples for you. This is an example of a matching activity. So again, we have words that rhyme, not truck and duck, but we have words that rhyme, and students can use the pen tool and match them. There's a lot of different things you can do here. And the nice thing is that rhyming is so exploratory for children. And so what I mean by that is you could have, okay, what rhymes with red, thinking R-E-D, and a student could say bread, and you know that bread is B-R-E-A-D, but the A and the N, it doesn't matter. And so when you have students that have that ability to maybe understand more complex spelling patterns, you can introduce them, but you also can just, yeah, that rhymes, right? So it can get really fun and a lot more complex than what, you can just do on a worksheet. And lastly, this is, again, the most complex. This is that phonemic awareness piece, being able to isolate the sounds. So in the first example, we have the sounds there. So the teacher can record b, at, and put them in order so that the student can see that these are the individual sounds. And then to get a little bit harder than this, and this is something that I even did with my second graders when I taught second grade, not on Book Creator, because of course I was not privy to this amazing tool. But having the students record their own sounds and putting them in order. So for example, the word snail is 5 letters, but it's only 4 sounds. So being able to have them not only record the sound, but then also put those sounds in order. Very complex skill, not easy to do. And last but not least, this is what I was talking about with being able to change the sounds within words. So looking at the word cat, and the little orange in the middle says, okay, change the k to a b. What's your new word? Bat, and then they find an image of that. So again, it's that multi-sensory approach to learning phonemic awareness and phonics. Catherine, take it away.
All right. So let's look at how you can actually create this yourself in Book Creator, because I'm sure you're wondering, okay, how do I do this in Book Creator? What's great about Book Creator is the simplicity of it. You're going to notice there's only a few buttons that you really need to know, which I love because it can be used from kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade. I've even seen it used in some pre-K classes, because what's great about it, if I click on the first button right here, there's the plus button. We know plus means add, so I'm just adding something to my page. If I click on this plus button, I'm going to notice that there's going to be icons next to the words. So even a pre-K student, if they learn those icons, so we're thinking about like icon literacy, they can learn those icons. They're going to be good to go, and they can use Book Creator on their own as well. All right, so let's look at recording our voices. Let's look at images, and let's look at the shapes, and we'll create something in just a matter of minutes. Okay, so I'm going to let's look at the images first. Those are the ones that pop up first. So we're going to be adding media to our page, and let's use the image of that cat that we just saw. Okay. Now our images are coming from 2 places. They're coming from the Pixabay Safe Image Search and the Google Safe Image Search. These are all copyright free, available for reuse, and they can be modified. So they can even crop them right in Book Creator if they wanted to. Now, what I love about this is you can search 2 ways. You're going to notice that I can search by typing. So my keyboard's way over here. But I also have a microphone right here. Wherever you see a microphone in Book Creator is going to be speech to text. So think about that great accessibility feature for the students. Or let's just say they don't know how to, maybe they don't know how to spell something yet. They can use that, click on the microphone, and they can just voice out cat and search for cat too. You can also upload from your computer, or better yet, if you have images on your computer, you can just drag and drop them right into Book Creator too, which I do all the time. All right, so let's search for cat. Another thing about these images you're going to notice, they're beautiful images. I love them. They are not going to be all like pixelated or anything like that. They are beautifully done. So let me look at maybe this one right here. This one's really cute. We'll go ahead and click on that one right there. So here's our cat. It's going to pop up. And look at that beautiful image. They're amazingly done. So I'm going to move over my cat. I'm going to crop this one a little bit because I want to put those shapes down here. So I'll show you how to crop it. I'm going to click on my image, click on the inspector, and I'm just going to scroll down and go to crop right here. We even make it simple for the students, and we can just click on one of these if I wanted to. Maybe crop it right here. Boom, done. Crop. And now I have my image right there. Okay. Now I want to get those little circles down here for the students because they're going to actually record their voices right there with the sounds. So I'm going to click on the plus button. Next to multimedia, to the right, I have shapes. Simple as that. I can add shapes to my page, and I'm going to go to this circle right here. Now, if you don't want a purple one, that's fine. I'm just going to move this over here. That right there. I'm just going to copy and paste them really quick. Let's do 3 of them. Paste. Okay. If you don't want purple ones, just click on it. Click that inspector, because the inspector button, if you're realizing now, means you're going to change something about whatever you've added to your page. I changed my picture by cropping it. I'm changing my circles by changing the color. So I'm going to click on that inspector. Here's the color. And I can click on this little plus button right here, and I can have any possible color I could possibly think of. Okay, so if you want to change that, you can. Maybe you want blue ones. Maybe you want to do one per sound. You could do that as well. However you wish. And there we go. Okay, now recording their voice, I click on the plus button. I click on record. I'll do the first sound. And there they go. And they can drag and drop into the first sound. If you wanted to also, for an accessibility feature, if you wanted to, on each of those pages that Randi was talking about, we have directions recorded for the students. You could use that record button to record directions and put those on the pages for the students so they know exactly what they're supposed to do when they get to that page, which is helpful for all the students in your classroom. Also, no matter what grade level, they can benefit from that as well. All right, let's keep chugging along.
Awesome. Thank you. So as you can see, within a matter of seconds, Catherine has made it a complete activity for students. You could go even one step farther, and you could have students create, choose your own image and tell me the sounds in it, right? Like you can differentiate however you want. All right, that was phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, sounds. Now we're moving on to phonics. All right, so phonics, like I mentioned earlier, that is the ability to associate those sounds within words to the actual letters that they represent. I will say that this is arguably one of the most difficult things for students, because in the English language, for example, there are 8 different ways to spell the long O sound. It just is very complex. Some of them have rules, but as we know, there's always exceptions to every rule in the English language, and none of them really make sense if you really think about it. And so it's very complex for students. They have to be explicitly taught. And until those words get put into that occipital memory toolbox, chances are they're not going to get it. So again, just to give you a little bit more data, in phonics, we have 26 letters of the alphabet. Of those 26 letters, there are 44 different sound combinations that they make for upwards of 2,000 spelling combinations. So again, this phonics is more than spelling, but that is a lot to do with it, being able to isolate the chunks within words. So let's go right into some phonics examples. As you can imagine, with the text and everything else feature that we have in Book Creator, there is a multitude of things that you can do. So the first one is just a really simple, it reminds me of doing like a magnet board activity with your younger students. In the sound bubble, I give a word. They have to just spell the word, drag the letter tiles up, and then they find an image of that word. So again, using that multimedia, not only do they have that phonemic awareness practice by hearing it and then having to spell it, they also get the image. So this is a lot more exciting than just your everyday spelling test. One thing that I also want to mention is if you see that little on the previous page, that little like lock symbol, that means it's linked out to an additional resource for you. So when you get a copy of this book, be sure to click on those things so that you can see the extra resources that we've added here. Sorry, we didn't call that out sooner. Thanks, Catherine, for going back.
Yeah.
Another activity that you can have students do is, for example, I know when I was a Title I teacher for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grades, that we did a lot of decodable text. So like focusing on those phonics patterns, highlight, the patterns that you see or highlight the whatever it was. Well, you can do that very easily in Book Creator. And so in this example, they have to find the digraph SH words in that short little text. You can listen to the text if you record it. The directions are there. The other thing that's really nice is that we have a really pretty complex text editor that has a lot of capabilities in it. And so we can change the font coloring. You could focus on syllable patterns. Sky's the limit, really. And it's really, really a lot more fun for children to do those types of activities here than just like put a line on the paper of where you'd split these syllables in half. Like really boring. So students really enjoy this, and it doesn't take them that long to do it either. Much better than your 3 different highlighter that my students liked to do. Makes it a little quicker. And last but not least, I am a huge proponent of word sorts. I think, again, there are so many different spelling patterns that for the same sound, that the more that we can expose students to these words and these patterns within words, the more likely they are to keep that in their occipital lobe. And so these are just 2 examples. Let me tell you what, you can't tell me otherwise that students take more time cutting and gluing than they do sorting words. Guarantee 100%. And so yes. in a digital format, they don't have that excuse, right? It's just a click and a drag. So you can do it a lot of different ways. The first one gives the word for them so that they can practice hearing it and identifying the pattern. The second one is a little bit more complex. All of those sounds all those letters combinations make the sh sound. And so it's, again, getting them to realize that sh is more than just sh. And I'm just using the one you have, Catherine. I don't have it up on my screen, so I never know if there's one more example or not. All right, so we also have some spelling examples. So like I mentioned, phonics and spelling go hand in hand. One thing I can tell you is that taking a paper pencil spelling test is not exciting and has not changed, I don't think, since 1992 when I was in elementary school. And so one of the really cool things that you can do in a digital format is you can already have the words recorded, and then they just have to type them or spell them out. You can have them identify the phonics patterns of the week or the words that you are choosing to do, breaking apart the words. If you have a word study test, breaking apart, what's the Latin roots. There's so much you can do in a digital format that makes it more engaging for students. They're more motivated to do it. You can add, okay, then find an image for that spelling word. The other thing, again, spelling it out, being able to identify those patterns within words. So in this example of a snail, students have to understand the sn, right? That's a cluster. The AI, that's the vowel team, and then the L. That's a great way for you to realize if students, again, bringing in that phonemic awareness into the upper grades, into their spelling.
All right. So let's look at this. I want to start out first looking at our text box that Randi was talking about. So if you click on this plus button right here, and you'll know that that's another piece of multimedia. So scroll down to the text. If you've used Book Creator before, but not in a while, you'll know that we have upgraded our text box. So be excited about that. So if I typed in, let's say, rainbow, and I wanted to break this into, let's say, 2 colors. If I wanted to break this in here, if I wanted to break bow, it's asking me to capitalize it, but nope, there it is. Highlight this here. You're going to notice that we now can change the text color right here. So if I click on the text color, I can pick any color I want here. So maybe I want to make this part red and so forth. I also can highlight too. So if I wanted to highlight, I could, or annotate right within it, I can if I wanted to. Some other things you'll notice that are new: bullet pointing, numbering. I could go on and on for all the new updates that we've upgraded to our text box. But in the focus of today, we want to look at how we can change those text colors right there. So then I could also bold. Let me change that back. I turned it to black. Sorry, everyone. There's the red. Oops, it's going off. There we go. Add to my page. If I want to change anything, make this bigger, remember I go to my inspector. So let's make this a little bigger for the students. And there's that. If I wanted to make, let's say, a few boxes with different text in them, a great way to do that is to use some of the comics. So if you're in a comic book, I always choose the comic book when I'm doing things, just so I have all the features. I never really use just the plain old blank ones. So if I click on the plus button, and if you're in a comic book, you have these panels. If you click on the panel right there, you'll notice that there's some that have like multiple. If you wanted to do like this one right here, you could use this, and then use, you could put the words on top of them if you wanted to. Or what you can do, anything also that's locked like this, just a kind of quick tip, if you want to unlock anything, so these are locked, you can see, you can just click on anything that's locked, click on the inspector button, and then click on unlock. So if I wanted to unlock this, I then can just delete it, or I can move this around. So you can get creative of how you want to use them. These all can also fill images. So if I wanted to fill this in with a rainbow, I could, with all these rainbows. Or maybe I wanted to do rain. Rain. Maybe the next one's bow. You kind of get the gist of that. But these all can like fill in nice and neat. So that's what you're seeing in some of those images that Randi had on those other pages. They're using a lot of times the comic panels that are really helpful for that. I'm trying to think what other ones for this. Another one for the spelling test I saw on the pages are some of our, you can leave feedback on them that are really engaging for the students. So one of our apps, if you go to our app store, we have these really fun feedback stickers, which are exciting for the students. So imagine them doing their spelling test or something like that. You can go in and actually leave these fun little stickers for them. So if you wanted to give them like a little thumbs up or right on, you rock, all these little cutesy little stickers, you can leave feedback, which is really fun for them too. We have feedback. In addition, we have feedback down here. If you click on the little right-hand side where you can leave multimedia feedback as well. This is more an advanced section of a book creator, but if you wanted to, with their spelling tests and so forth, you could, whatever they're working on, give them like a piece of video feedback or audio feedback, even just emoji, they get excited about that too. So don't want to forget that that's available, that feedback piece for the students as well.
Basically, if you can dream it, you can do it in Book Creator.
And make it fun and engaging.
That's right. So when I first learned about Book Creator, I immediately thought of what a game changer this would be for fluency. So if any of you have to deal with running records, 1-minute reads, students practicing reading aloud, that is something like K5 that students have to do on a regular basis. And so when I think about the possibilities of Book Creator and how this could impact fluency, I get so excited about this. And so fluency, again, is just the ability to read text quickly, accurately. It's like being able to read the same way you would have a conversation. So not too fast, not too slow. It's not awkward and choppy. One of the things that I like to introduce to my students is I use the acronym EARS. So being able to have good expression, accuracy, rhythm, phrasing, and rate, and then smoothness. And so using those 4 kind of pieces as a reminder to students, depending on the grade that they're in. So I really get excited about this. So I'm excited to share with you some of these examples for fluency. So starting off at the basic kindergarten level, when you're just learning some sight words, you can add, we have an amazing shapes noun project that I believe Catherine will share with you during the demo. I used that to put some of those images above the words see and cat. So you'll notice we have the dots underneath it so students understand you go from left to right, top to bottom. I've recorded the voice so that they can hear the fluent reading. I see a black cat. They can practice reading it. And then again, see and cat were the sight words. So I put the little image there and then they can record themselves. So again, that takes fluency to a whole new level. It's more than just getting that 2-page paper decodable book that they get and then take home. This is something that they can do. We had a teacher at, I believe it was Milwaukee Public Schools. She is an interventionist and she has created an entire collection library of nonsense word fluency and other types of fluency practice that her students do. The great thing about this is that because it's a routine, students know they grab their device, they go to the small group or the table, and they get started every day. So she has a different activity every single day to kind of get them practicing this skill. So the students that might need this nonsense word fluency, her voice is recorded saying ja, 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 ja. And then again, blending that sound, you practice that a couple times and then you keep going down, jab, jid, jex, jaws, jup, you know, and the faster that they can do it, the more fluent they are. Again, these are nonsense words. It's building that reading highway in your brain. So continually think about that. So they don't have to stop and think every time going from the front to the parietal, they can go back and forth. And eventually these word families get to their occipital where even though they're make-believe, we can easily read them fluently because we have that built in. So that's something that, again, it's so important for students to practice from the earlier levels. This is my favorite. This is the game changer to all game changers, I believe. So we used Acadiance reading, formerly known as Dibbles, at my school when I was a teacher and again when I was principal. So we were constantly progress monitoring. And one of the things that I always was frustrated with is we would do data meetings once a month and then the teachers would meet weekly. And it would be like, well, you know, so-and-so marked the book. So I can't guarantee that they really went up 10 words or not. So I'm going to have to like recheck them, right? Being able to use Book Creator, you can upload any PDF in the world that you have right into a page. So imagine your progress monitoring or your running records or whatever it is that you use, your fluency reads from your curriculum. You can upload them right into a book for each student. And every week or every day, they practice it, they record themselves. You can mark right on there over the PDF if they get something right or wrong. You can give them the score immediately. And then what I've seen teachers do is they will have the student listen to themselves read and then do a reflection. Like, all right, so I read 27 words today. My goal for next time is going to be 29. I noticed I did this really good. I'm going to practice this. And how impactful that is for students to not only their own goal setting, but to hear themselves. What I've noticed with my own boys when they are creating books and they record their voice is they hear themselves and they're like, oh no, that didn't sound good. I'm going to redo it. So that rereading, that is such a great fluency practice in general, is like automatic because they don't like the way they sound. I mean, I know probably all of us on this call since COVID, and we've been on so many Zoom meetings, cannot stand the way that we talk in recorded sessions. And so children feel the same way. And so the more practice they have, the better they'll get and the better their fluency will be. So I get so excited about the possibility of this and how amazing to be able to share this with parents so they can hear the growth from the beginning to the end. Oh my gosh. Just some other fun things that you can do. Practice just reading words. This was the vowel team AI and AY, beginning, middle, end of words. Practicing expression with the use of emojis. So same sentence, don't forget to look at the ending mark. So say it really sad. The dog ran away. Now we're excited because the dog got away. The dog ran away. You know, practicing that expression, looking at end punctuation. There's just so much that you can do with the capabilities of Book Creator. And I think that might be all of my examples.
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. I threw a few book examples on here too. I wanted to show just the power of Book Creator and the record button and hearing the students become fluent. I guess I'll start with those and then I'll go into showing you a few other the features, especially the embed PDF feature. What Randy's saying too is so important, especially showcasing with the parents, being able to publish things online and then be able to share that, even if you're using Seesaw or Google Classroom or whatever LMS you're sharing with parents, getting them to listen to their child is just so powerful. And then seeing their growth. I'm sure you've heard that. I'm sure you feel the exact same way. It's just so powerful. So seeing that progress monitoring, I just think is so important. This is a kindergarten student who wrote Little Emma. And I taking what we're all talking about with literacy and then putting it into their writing, and having them, after their writing, retelling their story. And she wrote her story using speech to text. But she retold her story using the record buttons and just was practicing fluency. I'm going to play just a few pages for you. I won't play the whole book, but I just want to show you a progression, what it looks like from kindergarten. And then I have a middle school example of them doing the same thing. And even in middle school, it's important to practice the exact same thing, expression, and hearing the personalities of the middle school students and practicing all those things is really powerful. So let me just play a few of these.
One day there was a person. It was not. He forgot to lock the door. He went to bed.
And you hear her using the expression. I'll just play it. It's just a few pages.
In the middle of the night, a monster. He got scared. See, went to see what was there. He went downstairs. He saw what was there. He got even more scared. The end.
It's definitely a cliffhanger. So she's leaving us hanging. We're not sure what's next. We need a part two. But it shows you how they can really practice that. And then we have a whole library of books. So when you get this book, you'll definitely want to check these out. But they're practicing the same exact thing. And this is in a sixth grade classroom. I'll just play one page for these. But they wrote their own fiction children's stories for a Head Start program. And they recorded them for the children since they probably weren't able to read them yet, but they were able to play the read to me and record the voices of them. But hear their expressions.
Bring, 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 went Buddy's new bright blue alarm clock. Buddy had just woken up out of his turquoise blue blanket to the fresh morning sun. He could see the bright yellow flowers cheering back at him through his window. Yay! It was time for a new day. A great brand new day filled with possibilities. It was going to be amazing. So Buddy thought.
And they did this all in Book Creator using our pen tools, our drawing tools, crayon tools, all the features. They created them all in Book Creator. So it just shows you that progression going where they can start in kindergarten, they can go all the way up even into secondary as well. So some cool features there. For some other ones, let me go back and see. Oh, the PDF editor I wanted to show you. For importing PDFs, you can make all your PDFs, especially for progress monitoring. I really find that really helpful. I'm going to go out into the library real quick because I'm going to show you how to do that when you import you start a new book. So if you click on new book, you're going to notice at the top right-hand side, it's almost kind of hidden. It says import book or PDF. I'm going to click on the PDF right here, and it says drag a PDF or upload one from Files or Google Drive. I'm just going to throw this PDF in. I only have one on my computer, and it happens to be a reading log, so don't judge my PDF, but I'm going to throw that in there. If your PDF is like 5 pages long, it will actually ask you to select what pages you want, which I love, especially if you had, let's say, a reading comprehension passage, and then you had the answer key at the end. You could just select the pages and leave the answer key. So now I'm going to select which type of book shape. I'm going to do portrait. The one thing you have to remember is that uploads as an image. So if you want to edit your image, you need to click on your image. So I'm going to click on this image right here, and then I can click on these editing tools. A few quick things that you can do with the PDF editor. The one thing that I really like you can do is once the pens load, I might need to refresh real quick. Sometimes this happens. The first thing you can do is use the eraser function, and you can erase anything on your PDF. So maybe you don't want question number 5. You can erase question 5. Maybe I don't want that quote down there, and I want to write my own maybe reflection question for my students. I can do that. So let me take the eraser. Right here's the eraser, and watch me just get rid of it. So I'll just erase that, and it's gone. Easy as that. Another thing I can do is take this fill bucket and watch me magically fill in anything on the page. Think diagrams or fractions, whatever the students are working on, they can just fill this in if it's unlocked, obviously. If you locked it, they wouldn't be able to, or you can fill that in. Another thing, if they want to annotate, take the highlighter. I'm going to take yellow, but take this highlighter right here. And now they can annotate anything right on the page. Have them explain, why did you highlight that? Have them click that record button and explain why did you highlight that piece or that piece of the word or that sentence and so forth. Making your PDFs accessible. Obviously having them record their voices. We're talking about fluency. So progress monitoring, having them record, just like Randi was talking about, having them record and then having them reflect on the next page and so forth. But yeah, I really like that PDF editor. All right, let's go back. I know we only have 10 minutes, so we still need to get through comprehension.
I know, I feel like we get so excited. So thanks for
I want to show you everything.
Thanks for staying with us here. So last but not least, Catherine already, spoiler alert, 5th pillar, comprehension.
Sorry.
And comprehension really is kind of like that end game, right? Like being able to understand and use and apply the knowledge from text is really the end goal of reading and then being able to write it. And so
vocabulary, I just realized.
But what comes right before comprehension is vocabulary. So this is quick. So we'll be quick with this. Vocabulary is a collection of words that are known and used in everyday conversation. Obviously, the more words that you can associate, the more vocabulary. Again, it goes into that meaning part of your brain, so you understand them. Tier 1 words are basic conversational words. Tier 2 words are words that are a little bit more academic. There might be multiple meaning words where you have to understand in context what the word means. So for example, if I was using the word addition, it could mean like I'm doing in math class, a plus sign, or I could say, in addition to bringing your backpack to school, and they know like it means something more, right? So using that. Whereas tier 3 words are words that you don't come across often, and that when you do have a specific meaning. So for example, if I came across the word osmosis, not a word that I come across every single day, but yet if it was something that was on a Smarter Balanced assessment, students need to be aware. And so one thing to call out is that for your state tests, it's really important to have common vocabulary lists. So let's go into some examples here for vocabulary. This is where I feel that Book Creator like K-12 does an amazing job, because when you have some high school teachers that are like, okay, I teach anatomy and physiology, how am I supposed to use Book Creator when students are dissecting frogs? vocabulary. This is how we can do it. So we have built in vocabulary journals that are remixable that students can just take and move. We have the ability where, for this example, this is a high five, choose 5 words that use this SH, and then I want you to use them in a writing piece later on. Moving on, we also have some examples with vocabulary that have to do with graphic organizers. We have over 100 graphic organizers that are built right into our program. Amazing to showcase. And then lastly, fill in the blank. A lot more exciting to do in a digital format. Let's use labeling. Let's practice these nonfiction text features. Again, this is something that you can do in your anatomy and physiology class and still use Book Creator and have it be fun and interactive. And then, go.
Yeah, with the demo, I'll do the demo after comprehension. I'll just combine them into 2. Just so that you are aware, I threw on 2 examples of vocab notebooks that teachers have created. So when you hit this page, feel free to check those ones out.
Awesome. And then again, spoiler alert, comprehension, end game of reading, being able to understand and use everything that you've acquired from text. So we're going to jump right into what comprehension is and then some examples. So reading comprehension is more than just having those strategies like, oh, I can summarize, or, oh, I know the key ideas and details. It's having that vocabulary. It's being able to decode. If you are spending more time having to go from word to sound, right? You don't have that reading highway yet. You are not effectively decoding because you're not thinking about what you're reading. You're just trying to get through that word, not the context of what that word means. Monitoring yourself. How many times have you been reading a story or reading a book or reading a newspaper or on Facebook and you're like, wait, what did I just read? Because your mind went elsewhere. So being able to monitor what you're reading, what you're doing when you're reading, and did you really understand that correctly? Having that world knowledge. So if you don't have that background knowledge or those experiences, you may have no idea what it means to be a Youper, right? If you're not from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, that means nothing to you, right? But because I have that word knowledge, that world knowledge, it's where I am. Like, you live under the bridge, you're a troll, but that's Michigan humor, not Illinois. So moving on, you need to have all of those pieces in order to have reading comprehension. So going into some examples in 5 minutes left, so we'll go quick. What you can do, which is really great, is you can take your curriculum and you can make it even better with Book Creator. You can enhance some of those questions like, where's the setting? Well, now students can tell you what the setting is. They can draw a picture of it, have them listen to a story. Now you create the setting. Read a chapter in a book, summarize it, and then predict what happens next using their voice and images. These are some just simple ways, but students go nuts over it. Some other things that we have here, again, another graphic organizer. We have books that are meant to teach these comprehension skills. So figurative language. This is a remixable book that a teacher made to help you with metaphors and similes and all of the pieces of figurative language that is difficult for students to comprehend, but makes the writing and reading so much more exciting and enjoyable. Lastly, again, those fill in the blank comprehension questions. A lot more exciting to do it in a digital format. And then some teachers have taken it one step further. Not only are they practicing comprehension, but it's this mysterious dog example is a choose your own adventure, ending book. How amazing is that to be able to create something like that? You're doing your comprehension, you're doing all of the pieces, summarizing, character, what they think, feel. There's just so much that you can do in Book Creator.
All right, so demo really quick. I do want to show you our graphic organizers. So if you click on the plus button and under more, this is where our app store is. You do need to enable them. So if you click on that add apps, you'll be able to enable them all right there. And the graphic organizer one will then pop up under more once that's enabled. Just like Randi was saying, we have over 100 of them in-house that we've made. If I go over here for compare and contrast, you can pick all these categories. The writing ones are right here. For reading, problem solving, anything here. We'll just click on compare and contrast right here. What I like about this too is that they're all different grade levels. So you can meet the needs of any of your learners. You can differentiate them. If you pick one, you see one that's like, hey, that's going to be actually more for older students, but you can take it, differentiate it, edit it however you want. So if I just click on this one, for this one, I'm just going to click add to book. If it's not exactly what you want, you can just edit it. Easy as that. I showed you how to unlock earlier. This one's not locked, but anything that's locked, you just click the inspector and click unlock. Easy as that. And then lastly, to embed anything, if you want to embed like a video or embed another book creator book you want them to read that maybe you actually created for them and then create their own ending, click on the plus button, click on more. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, that's where you're going to find embed. Click on embed and you just paste your link right in there. And that's where you can embed anything really into Book Creator. Or you can also drag and drop them right into Book Creator, and that works as well. Okay, we'd love to take really quick before we take some questions. Let's go scroll through here. We do have a few updates that are coming out. They're going to be there is a November promo going on right now where I believe it's 50% off, right? Yeah, 50% off your account. So if you do want to upgrade your account right now, I would take advantage of it. It's going through the end of November. You can upgrade your account right within, and it's 50% off. There's also a certification course if you're getting started. If you're thinking today you're feeling a little overwhelmed and you still want to know how do I get started with Book Creator, don't worry. You can also start small. If you go outside of this library right here and click on once you're in a library, if you click on these 3 lines right up here, there's a certification course. I highly recommend starting here. We are going to walk you through 18 different modules, which is completely self-paced, saves as you go. And the 19th one is a quiz. Once you take that quiz, you should pass, and you'll receive a digital badge as well as a certificate of completion. So highly recommend starting there, and we'll walk you through all of the basic features we have here at Book Creator. I know we ended there though. There is something in the chat for your PD hours, and we'd love to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much for listening to us for the past hour. I know it was a lot, but we are just so excited to share with you. Please reach out to us at any time with any questions you might have. Catherine and I are always here. Part of my new role is to support teachers and their curriculum and their literacy. So that is literally what I'm here to do.
Thanks, everyone.